Welcome to my What I Eat in a Day Caribbean and African special. Hello fam, my name's Melissa Neal and this channel is all about helping you, if you're a woman over 40, transform your body and get into the best shape of your life. And one of the things that we need to do that is to get our diet right, and I'm all about counting calories and macros, but I wanted to show you today how you can eat and actually eat some tasty, delicious food that's full of flavour, full of Caribbean and African spices, and still remain within your calories and your macros. What I'm going to be eating today is not a pure Caribbean or African menu, but it's influenced by African and Caribbean food. So it's using the flavours, the spices, and some of the ingredients. It's going to be lower in fat. I'm going to be weighing the food out. So it's what we call macro friendly. It's the morning. I'm going to start off with a little bit of yoga because I've got some tightness in my hip and back, which I want to put right. The first dish I'm going to make is some delicious Moroccan eggs, and when I had this in Morocco I was just absolutely blown over by this dish, and it's so simple but I've put my own twist on it. When I was in Morocco I was in the desert, and the man that cooked it, he called it a Berber omelette because they were the Berber tribe, and what they do is they use chopped onions, tomatoes, and then they crack some eggs in. But I'm actually adding peppers to this, which is kind of more of the Middle Eastern way. So it's really simple. I just need a couple of peppers, an onion, some garlic paste because I'm lazy and I don't like to chop garlic, and some ground coriander. And I've got some free range eggs here. And then I'm going to have mine with a whole grain bagel, but it depends on whether you're eating carbohydrates or not, whether you want to have the bagel. I've also got a tin of tomatoes here. You can use fresh tomatoes, but it's easier to use tin tomatoes. So I'm now just going to chop up the peppers and onions. So first off, I'm going to get some light spray, and it's some light olive oil spray, and just spray that in the pan so that I can saute the onions and the peppers. And we're just using light spray oil because it's much lower in fat. There's hardly any fat in that. And then I'm just going to put the chopped peppers and onions into the dish. And we're going to saute those off now for probably about 10 minutes that's going to take. So while those peppers are cooking, I'm going to start preparing the lunch because I'm making Jamaican jerk chicken with rice and peas, but it's a very healthy version of that, and I'm actually going to do some slaw on the side as well. So what I need to do is start the peas quite early. They're red kidney beans, and I've had them soaking in water overnight. You can use canned ones, but you don't get quite the same effect because when you use the dried ones, it actually makes the rice go a kind of brown colour that you associate with that delicious rice and peas. So you can see there I've had them soaking in that water, and I want to keep the water. I've actually put some garlic powder in there as well because the water is what's going to retain the colour, and then I'm going to pour that into a pan of water and then bring it to the boil. So this is the pan of water. I'm going to put some sprigs of thyme in there as well because that just gives it a nice flavour, an authentic Caribbean flavour. You don't need to chop them up. You can just take a couple of sprigs and just put that in because you'll pull it out once you've cooked the rice with it. So what I'm using for my rice and peas is actually chicken breast. Now that's not authentic. In the Caribbean you'd probably buy a whole chicken and cut it into sort of pieces on the bone, and it's much more flavoursome. Because this is macro friendly, I'm going to be cutting these chicken breasts up into cubes. So I've marinated the chicken breast in the jerk seasoning So that's Walker's Wood jerk seasoning, and this is a really nice jerk seasoning. I love it. But I've also put a little bit of garlic paste in because the jerk seasoning is very fiery. I like very fiery food, but that is fiery. And so what I've done is I've mixed that all up together with the chopped chicken breast. And then that will go in the fridge. And really, you should season this overnight. But I'm just seasoning it for a few hours until I have lunch. So I've done about 4 or 5 days worth of jerk chicken there. Once I eat it the next day, it's going to taste fantastic. So the peppers and onions have softened now. So I can start to add some of the other things that we want in there. So I'm going to add a tin of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, a little bit of pink Himalayan salt. Now, if you don't have salt in your diet, obviously don't add salt now. I'm going to put in some ground coriander. And this isn't a really fiery dish. These are just kind of aromatic spices that are in here. We're not getting that real heat that we do with some of the Caribbean dishes. With the North African dishes, they tend not to be so fiery. I'm just adding some garlic paste there. And what we need to do now is just let that come to the boil. And you can see that's bubbling nicely now. So I can crack some eggs in. Now, I'm having 2 eggs. You could easily share this dish with one other person or perhaps 2 other people. But I'm just going to crack in 2 eggs because that's for me. And then so that the eggs cook more quickly, I'm going to put the lid on. This is a fantastic breakfast because it's going to keep me full until lunchtime. It's got a whole grain bagel, plenty of peppers, and the eggs for protein and fats. So let's give it a taste. That's really good. I'm back to make the Jamaican jerk chicken, rice and peas. Today I'm making a slaw, but it's not the authentic coleslaw that people in the Caribbean would make because it's much lower in fat. I am using some mayonnaise. I'm going to use a smaller amount of mayonnaise than we would do normally. And I think quite a lot of people put salad cream in it, but I'm going to mix it with apple cider vinegar. And so that's going to make it much lower in fat. So what I've done is I've shredded up some cabbage. It's really simple, just chops that up. So I'm going to put that into a bowl. And again, this you can make up a batch of it ahead. I've got some grated carrot there, so I'm going to add that into the bowl. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out a tablespoon. It's just a tablespoon, or maybe a little bit less than a tablespoon of mayonnaise, so it's not loaded with mayonnaise. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar just to taste, and that's also going to kind of moisten it, and it's going to make the mayonnaise go a lot further by adding that extra liquid in. And actually, this is normally what I make for people when they come visiting me, and they don't complain about this coleslaw. So I think it's actually really good. And there you have it. That's the slaw. And you can see it's just got a thin layer of that mayonnaise mixed in with the apple cider vinegar. The next step is I'm going to make the rice and peas. I've rinsed that in the bowl for my rice cooker, and I'm going to make this rice and peas in a rice cooker. I find rice cookers are so much easier to cook rice with and much more convenient. My peas, or my red kidney beans, you can see the liquid's really red now and they're kind of soft. And I'm going to use some of that red liquid to cook the rice and peas in. So I'm just going to empty it all into there, into the bowl for the rice cooker, and mix it out. So that's it. I've got my liquid. I'm going to put the rice cooker on. You may want to add seasoning. I normally don't. I'm just going to add a couple of fresh sprigs of thyme. Some people would add a Scotch bonnet pepper. I like it to be pretty plain because the jerk chicken's going to be very fiery, so we don't necessarily want our rice and peas to be fiery, but it all depends on your taste. So I'm just going to put the rice cooker on now. I'm going to put the lid on, and then we're going to leave that there to cook. I've taken the chicken I've been seasoning in the fridge. You would have done it overnight, but I've just done it for a few hours, and I'm going to put that in a baking tray. So it's just going to roast in the oven for probably about 20 minutes, something like that. It won't take long because they're small chicken chunks, and I've done enough there to last me quite a few days. So I'm going to put that into the oven now. While the chicken and the rice is cooking, I'm just going to do a quick snack. With this macro-friendly food, I tend to eat kind of 5 or 6 meals a day. And of course, some of them are going to be snacks. And I'm going to show you my protein and oat bars, which I have done before, but this time they've got a Caribbean twist because they've got bananas in them. Some of these sultanas in, and they've actually been soaking in rum, which is a little bit naughty. I wouldn't eat these if I was really seriously dieting, but at the moment I'm 16 weeks out from a show, so I can afford to have a couple of naughty things, and I am filming this quite close to Christmas. And then I got oatmeal or oats. I know you call it oatmeal in the USA. And then I use this plant protein to put in my protein and oat bars. And doing your own protein and oat bars is so much better than buying the shop bought ones. It's much, much cheaper, and it's probably healthier for you. And then the other thing is just to add a little bit more of a Caribbean twist. I'm just going to put some spices in. So I've got some cinnamon and mixed spice there. First of all, I'm going to blend up the bananas, but you can mash them up. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to start weighing my ingredients out now into the bowl, and this is so simple. That's the oat bars before I cook them in the oven. I'm going to put them in the oven, and my chicken is almost ready to come out now. The chicken's cooked and the rice cooker has kind of turned itself off to just the warm setting, so I know that's cooked now. And this is what the chicken looks like cooked. I'm just going to plate everything up now. I'm actually really quite hungry, so it smells gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, the jerk chicken and the rice. I've just put a tea towel there over the rice just to soak up some of the moisture. So I'm now just going to weigh it out. So I've got these scales. I can put a link in the description. They're really good, these scales, because they actually link to an app where you can calculate your calories and macros. So I'm going to weigh out some rice and peas. Now I'm going to do 150 grams of rice and peas. So that works out approximately 100 grams of rice and 50 grams of peas. And what's really good about that is it's really filling, having the rice with the kidney beans, or as they call them in Jamaica, peas, just makes it really filling. So I'm now going to zero that, and I'm going to weigh myself 100 grams of chicken. Right, so that's 100 grams of chicken, and then I'm just going to get some of the juices. just because that kind of makes it taste really, really good. And chicken breast can be a bit dry, can't it? So that's why I didn't want to cook it for too long. And then I'm just going to put my coleslaw on. So this is my coleslaw that I made earlier on. So I'm not going to weigh that out because it's kind of everything's already been mixed together, and in a way you don't really need to weigh vegetables out as much, and I know how much mayonnaise that is, so I can record it on my Fitness Pal. So that's my jerk chicken, rice and peas with coleslaw. It's going to keep me within my calorie limit and within my macro limit, which is great because I can still kind of eat the foods that I enjoy. The oat bar has cooled down now, so I'm going to cut it up into pieces. I always recommend that you guys do a high protein diet, and sometimes it's pretty difficult, isn't it, to get all that protein in. And you need to have protein pretty much in every meal, which is what I've shown you today. And it's so important, isn't it, when you're doing your snacks to get protein. And this is one of my favourite snacks. And what I normally do, and I'm just going off to the gym now, is, and I'm going to have this as a snack, as a pre-workout snack, or sometimes I have it as a post-workout snack. And it's really good if you're doing your strength training to have a snack around half an hour to an hour before you work out, which is a snack that includes protein and carbohydrates, and these do exactly that. And then a meal or a snack when you come back, and these do exactly that as well. So I've made it, so I'm just going to try it now and see how it is, because I haven't done these with mashed banana before. They're really good. Oh, so much better with the banana in. I'm back for my evening meal, and my evening meal is a Caribbean style prawn curry. The ingredients are coconut milk, and the coconut milk needs to be from the refrigerator, not the tin sort, because that's very high in fat. They're normally in a carton, this one's in a bottle though. My beloved ginger and garlic paste. Some mild curry powder. That's not authentic Caribbean curry powder, but if you can get Caribbean curry powder, that's a bit better. Some turmeric. You've got to be really careful with these Scotch bonnet peppers because they're very, very hot, fiery. So I've only just done about a quarter of one of those because otherwise it would be too hot. And my son's eating this with me today, so I don't want to make it really so overpoweringly hot. And then I've got chopped peppers, chopped onions, some thyme, and you can see I've just chopped up a small amount of the Scotch bonnet peppers. And the most important ingredient of all, I've got some frozen raw prawns. And then I'm going to just start putting all those ingredients in. I've got some spray oil, so I'm going to put the onion and the peppers. I'm going to put those in, and then the Scotch bonnet as well in. I'm not going to put all of that in because I'm going to taste it first. The peppers and onions have been softening up for a bit, so I'm going to add the other ingredients. That's the coconut milk, then there's the curry powder and the turmeric, just to give it that yellow colour, and the ginger. And I'm going to cook that through and then add the prawns right at the end. The vegetables are cooked through, so I'm going to add the prawns. And I'm just going to let that gently cook through now. So that's cooked through, I'm going to dish it up. That's my Caribbean prawn curry, and my son's going to eat his with the rice and peas that we had earlier on, and I'm going to steam some vegetables, some green vegetables to have with mine. Sometimes you just want something really sweet, don't you, that's just going to give you a bit of comfort, and that's quite a struggle to do sometimes when you're on a diet. But I do think these new low-calorie ice creams are absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to make a snack which is going to be really low in calories with this stuff here, which is the Halo Top ice cream. There are a lot of ice creams around like this. I know this one is available in the US, so that's why I've decided on this one today, and it is pretty tasty. It's 320 calories per tub. If you're having quarter of a tub, that's less than 60 calories, isn't it? So that's absolutely fantastic, because they do taste pretty good. They taste nearly as good as the full fat ice creams. I'm sticking to my Caribbean theme, and I've got some sliced mango there, and I'm not even gonna weigh this out because it's not too much of a problem. If I was at a different stage in my diet, then I probably would weigh it out, but I'm just kind of gonna do a scoop. And so that is absolutely fantastic. It's a really nice treat, and I've got the salted caramel one there. Oh, that's so good. That's around 100 grams of sliced mango topped with a scoop of Halo Top ice cream. That was my what I eat in a day, African and Caribbean style. I hope you liked that, and you can see that you can have really flavoursome, delicious food. And do try the recipes out and let me know how you get on. Do let me know in the comments section if you have a favourite dish and you'd like me to make the healthy version of that favourite dish. Now, I can't promise that I can do that with everything. I think if it's an apple pie, that's going to be hard. If you want me to make more videos like this, then do let me know in the comments section, and I'll do my best to kind of use my skills to try and make a healthier version that's also high in protein, because that's the challenge, isn't it? Having protein at each meal. And if you like this video, please do give it the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to get the bell notifications so you're notified when my videos first drop. And don't forget, you can also give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok, where I do all this stuff on a daily basis. Weight loss for women over 40,